You bend down to tie your shoe. Crack. That little sound in your knee or hip, most people shrug it off. But it's your body whispering a warning. Bones don't just break from accidents, they weaken over years, silently. And there's one missing mineral making this worse for millions of seniors. A mineral most doctors don't talk about enough. Here's the twist. It's not calcium. In fact, without this mineral, calcium can turn against you, making your bones more brittle instead of stronger. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal exactly what it is, why seniors lose it faster, and what the science says about keeping your skeleton solid well into your 80s and 90s. Quick challenge. Stick with me until the end. I'll give you 2 simple at-home checks to see if your body might already be running low on this mineral. No cost, no equipment, just answers you deserve. When people think of bones, they think of calcium. It's the nutrient that headlines every osteoporosis ad, gets plastered on milk cartons, and is the go-to recommendation from most health pamphlets. But here's what those campaigns rarely tell you. Calcium can't do its job alone. And without its partner mineral, magnesium, the calcium you take may not strengthen your bones at all. In some cases, it could even end up in the wrong places, like your arteries, increasing health risks instead of reducing them. Magnesium is sometimes called the forgotten mineral, but for your skeleton, it's more like the chief engineer. Roughly 50–60% of the magnesium in your body is stored inside your bones, where it quietly ensures that your skeletal structure remains dense and resilient. Its most important task is activating vitamin D into its usable form, a process that allows calcium to actually integrate into bone tissue. Without magnesium, this process grinds to a halt, leaving calcium floating in your bloodstream instead of fortifying your skeleton. Why seniors lose magnesium faster? Aging creates the perfect storm for magnesium depletion. Here's why. Declining absorption. As we get older, stomach acid production naturally decreases. Since magnesium absorption depends on this acidic environment, less acid means less magnesium gets into the bloodstream from food. Increased loss through medication. Many seniors take common prescriptions like diuretics for blood pressure or proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux. Both can cause the body to excrete magnesium more rapidly. Dietary changes. Appetite loss, difficulty chewing, or reduced variety in meals often lead to less magnesium-rich food intake. Even when seniors eat well, modern soils are lower in magnesium, so foods don't contain as much as they used to. The danger is that magnesium deficiency is a slow, silent process. Early signs are vague: muscle twitches, leg cramps, mild fatigue, or trouble sleeping. None of these scream bone problem, but deep inside your bone cells are struggling. The builders of osteoblasts, can't keep up with repairs, while the demolition crew, osteoclasts, keeps working, gradually tipping the balance toward bone loss. A space-age discovery, NASA's research into astronaut health offers a striking example. In zero gravity, astronauts lose up to 1–2% of their bone density per month, far faster than any senior on Earth. When scientists added magnesium supplementation alongside special exercise routines, they noticed a slower rate of bone loss. The conclusion? Magnesium is a critical component for maintaining bone density under stress, whether that stress is space travel or the natural aging process. The overlooked risk in everyday life. Studies published in Osteoporosis International and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition have shown that older adults with the lowest magnesium intakes have a significantly higher risk of fractures, even when their calcium intake is high. This tells us that just take calcium is incomplete advice. Without magnesium, the structural integrity of bone simply can't be maintained. Think of calcium as the bricks of a building, and magnesium as the mortar that holds those bricks together. Without mortar, the building will eventually crumble, no matter how many bricks you add. When most people imagine bones, They think of a hard, lifeless structure, something like porcelain or stone. But in reality, bones are living tissue. They breathe, they grow, they repair themselves. And magnesium is one of the key workers in that ongoing construction site. The dynamic nature of bone. Your skeleton isn't just set once you reach adulthood. Bone is constantly undergoing remodeling, a process where old or damaged bone is broken down, resorption, and replaced with new bone, formation. This process keeps bones strong and adaptable. Without enough magnesium, the balance between these two phases is disrupted. In bone formation, magnesium influences the activity of osteoblasts, the cells that lay down fresh bone tissue. Research in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition shows that magnesium deficiency significantly reduces osteoblast activity, meaning less new bone is formed. In bone breakdown, magnesium helps regulate osteoclasts, the cells that remove old bone. When magnesium is low, osteoclast activity can run unchecked, leading to faster bone loss. In other words, magnesium is both the accelerator for bone building and the brake for bone breakdown. The mineral that makes calcium behave. Calcium is like a strong but stubborn employee, full of potential, but easily misdirected. Magnesium acts like the supervisor, ensuring calcium goes into bones where it belongs, instead of depositing into arteries, kidneys, or joints. Without this supervision, excess calcium can form kidney stones or calcify blood vessels, a problem more common in seniors. A 2013 study in the British Journal of Nutrition found that adults with the highest magnesium intake had better bone mineral density, regardless of how much calcium they consumed. This suggests that magnesium doesn't just work alongside calcium. It actively determines calcium's effectiveness. The chain reaction with vitamin D. Vitamin D is often called the sunshine vitamin, but in reality it's more of a hormone that tells your body to absorb calcium. The catch? Vitamin D must be converted from its inactive form, cholecalciferol, to its active form, calcitriol. And magnesium is the cofactor that makes this conversion possible. Without magnesium, vitamin D remains inactive, and calcium absorption drops sharply. This means a person could be taking calcium and vitamin D supplements every day, yet still suffer bone loss if their magnesium is too low. Why seniors can't afford to ignore this? After age 50, bone breakdown naturally outpaces bone formation. Women in particular experience accelerated bone loss after menopause due to hormonal changes. This makes every part of the bone-building equation critical, and magnesium is the silent partner often missing. In fact, data from the Framingham Offspring study showed that individuals with higher magnesium intake had up to 62% lower risk of hip fractures compared to those with low intake. That's not a subtle benefit. That's the difference between living independently and recovering from a life-changing injury. The big takeaway for now: magnesium isn't just supportive for bone health. It's the orchestrator of bone metabolism. Without it, the entire bone maintenance system starts to falter, no matter how much calcium or vitamin D you consume. Magnesium deficiency rarely announces itself with a big flashing warning light. Instead, it creeps in quietly, showing up as small, seemingly unrelated annoyances. This is why so many seniors miss the connection between their symptoms and their bone health, until a fracture makes it impossible to ignore. Why symptoms are subtle at first: magnesium operates in the background of your body's chemistry. It's a cofactor in more than 300 enzyme systems, meaning it's involved in muscle contraction, nerve transmission, energy production, and protein synthesis. When levels start to dip, your body will borrow magnesium from bone stores to keep these vital processes running. That's why you might not notice bone issues right away, but you will start to notice other changes. Common early signs: muscle cramps and twitches. Magnesium is essential for regulating muscle relaxation. Without enough, muscles can contract involuntarily, leading to cramps in the legs or feet, especially at night. Restless legs or tremors. Seniors often attribute nighttime leg discomfort to just getting older, but in many cases, low magnesium plays a role. Fatigue and low energy. Magnesium is needed for the production of ATP, the body's energy currency. Low levels can leave you feeling unusually tired, even after rest. Sleep disturbances. Research in Nutrients, 2012, found that magnesium helps regulate neurotransmitters related to sleep. Deficiency can contribute to insomnia or poor sleep quality. Heart rhythm changes. Magnesium helps maintain normal electrical activity in the heart. Deficiency can lead to palpitations or arrhythmias, especially in those with pre-existing heart conditions. The hidden bone connection. The key point here is that these symptoms are not separate from bone health. They're an early signal that your body is pulling magnesium out of your bones to keep the rest of your systems going. Over time, this magnesium drain leaves bones structurally weaker. Imagine a bank account where you keep making withdrawals without deposits. Eventually, the balance hits zero. In your body, bones are the savings account for magnesium, and every time you dip into it to power muscle function or heart rhythm, you're leaving the skeletal structure less fortified. The systemic dangers for seniors. Low magnesium doesn't just mean fragile bones. A growing body of research connects magnesium deficiency with higher inflammation levels, which further accelerates bone loss. Insulin resistance, linked to type 2 diabetes, which increases fracture risk. Cognitive decline. Some studies show associations between low magnesium and poorer memory or attention in older adults. A 2010 analysis in Nutrients highlighted that seniors with chronic low magnesium had a significantly higher risk of all-cause mortality, not just from fractures, but from cardiovascular events and metabolic diseases. Why doctors sometimes miss it. Blood tests for magnesium aren't always reliable, because only about 1% of your body's magnesium is in the blood. You can have normal blood magnesium levels but still be depleted in skin and muscle tissues. This is why symptoms and risk factors need to be considered alongside lab results. Bottom line for this section: if you're experiencing unexplained cramps, fatigue, sleep issues, or heart rhythm changes, it may be more than just age. For seniors, these can be the body's early plea for magnesium, long before bone density scans reveal trouble. Ignoring these signs means letting bone loss advance in silence. If magnesium is so essential, you might wonder, why does the body let it slip away so easily? The truth is, your body isn't trying to sabotage you. But as we age, several biological shifts make it harder to hold on to this mineral. Even seniors with a fairly balanced diet can end up running a chronic deficit. Reduced digestive efficiency. Magnesium absorption happens mostly in the small intestine, and the process depends on having enough stomach acid and healthy gut function. Both change with age. Lower stomach acid. By the time you're in your 60s, stomach acid production can be significantly reduced. Without enough acid, magnesium stays in a form that's harder for the body to absorb. Slower gut motility. Food moves through the digestive tract more slowly, sometimes causing constipation. But ironically, this can reduce nutrient absorption due to changes in gut environment. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that seniors absorb 10 to 30% less magnesium from the same meal compared to younger adults. Medication side effects. Many seniors take daily prescriptions, and some of the most common have magnesium-depleting effects. Proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, for acid reflux or GERD, linked to lower magnesium absorption. Diuretics, for blood pressure or heart failure, increase magnesium loss through urine. Certain antibiotics can bind to magnesium in the gut and carry it out before it's absorbed. A 2015 study in PLOS1 found that long-term PPI use was strongly associated with hypomagnesemia, low magnesium levels, even in people taking magnesium supplements. 3. Hormonal changes. For women, menopause is a turning point. Declining estrogen levels accelerate bone loss, and magnesium plays a role in estrogen metabolism. Lower estrogen also affects how bones respond to magnesium, meaning the same intake may no longer produce the same protective effect. Men aren't immune either. Age-related testosterone decline is linked to reduced muscle mass, and since muscle stores magnesium too, less muscle means less reserve capacity for this mineral. Kidney function decline. The kidneys are the gatekeepers for magnesium balance, deciding how much to excrete and how much to recycle. With age, kidney filtration rates naturally drop. In many cases, this can lead to excessive magnesium loss in urine, especially if fluid intake or diet isn't optimal. Lifestyle shifts with age. Even if diet and digestion were perfect, lifestyle changes can tip the scale. Less physical activity means less bone stress, which signals the body to maintain less bone mass. Reduced appetite or smaller meal sizes can cut magnesium intake without you noticing. Chronic stress or illness increases magnesium demand, making it harder to keep up. The compounding effect, the real danger isn't one factor. It's the stacking of multiple small losses over time. Reduced absorption here, a little extra urinary loss there, plus hormonal shifts, plus medication effects. Over years, these tiny drains on magnesium stores create a significant deficit. This is why a senior who thinks they're eating well can still have brittle bones, sleep issues, and muscle cramps. They're simply not absorbing and retaining enough magnesium to match what the body needs. It's one thing to say magnesium is important for bones. It's another to show hard evidence from large, long-term studies. Over the last 2 decades, researchers have been digging into the numbers, and the results are clear. Low magnesium means higher fracture risk, weaker bones, and faster bone loss, regardless of calcium intake. The Framingham Offspring Study. This landmark study followed more than 2,000 adults over several years, tracking diet, blood markers, and bone health. Researchers found that participants with the highest magnesium intake had up to 62% lower risk of hip fractures compared to those with the lowest intake. The striking part? This protective effect remained even after adjusting for calcium intake, physical activity, and vitamin D levels. Osteoporosis. International findings. In 2014, a paper in Osteoporosis International examined magnesium's role in bone mineral density, BMD, a measure of bone strength, in over 70,000 participants. Seniors with the lowest magnesium levels consistently had lower BMD scores and higher fracture rates. The authors concluded that magnesium plays a direct and independent role in bone health, not just as a calcium helper. The Women's Health Initiative, WHI. The WHI, one of the largest health studies ever conducted, followed more than 160,000 postmenopausal women in the U.S. for over a decade. Analysis revealed that women in the top quartile of magnesium intake had significantly fewer hip and wrist fractures than those in the bottom quartile. Interestingly, moderate magnesium intake, meeting recommended daily allowance, was better than both very low and extremely high intake, suggesting balance is key. Meta-analysis evidence. A 2021 meta-analysis in the Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology pooled data from 16 studies and found that every 100 mg day increase in magnesium intake was associated with a 5 reduction in fracture risk. While that may sound modest, it adds up substantially over time, especially for seniors already at higher baseline risk. Why these findings matter for seniors? Most bone density loss in older adults happens silently. By the time a fracture occurs, bone mineral density can be 20 to 25% lower than optimal. The research above makes one thing clear. Seniors with adequate magnesium intake not only have stronger bones but also maintain that strength longer, delaying or even preventing the onset of osteoporosis. Another important takeaway: magnesium status doesn't just predict if you'll have a fracture. It can influence how well you recover if one happens. Low magnesium impairs collagen synthesis and slows the formation of new bone tissue at the fracture site, meaning healing can take longer and be less complete. Bringing it full circle. These large-scale studies confirm what smaller lab and clinical studies have been showing for years. Magnesium isn't an optional extra in bone health. It's a core predictor of skeletal survival in later life. And unlike some risk factors for fractures, like age or genetics, magnesium status is something you can influence. By now, the pattern should be clear. Magnesium isn't just a support mineral, it's a cornerstone. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most seniors don't realize they're running low until damage is already underway. Fractures in later life are more than a broken bone. They can be the start of a downward spiral. Research shows that within a year after a hip fracture, 20–30% of seniors may never walk independently again. Recovery often requires months of rehabilitation, and the loss of mobility can trigger other health issues like muscle wasting, cardiovascular decline, and social isolation. Magnesium as a fracture prevention strategy. All the studies we've looked at point in the same direction. Maintaining adequate magnesium throughout life, and especially after 50, significantly reduces fracture risk. This isn't just about stronger bones. Magnesium's role in muscle function means better balance, fewer falls, and quicker reflexes to prevent accidents in the first place. The window of opportunity. One of the most important things seniors can understand is that bone health is not fixed. Even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, bone remodeling still happens. This means improvements are possible if the right nutrients are in place. Magnesium is part of that missing puzzle. Ignoring it is like letting your home's foundation crack because it's already old. Small repairs now can prevent major collapse later. The overlooked link to independence: strong bones aren't just about avoiding fractures. They're about keeping your freedom. When you can get up from a chair without help, climb stairs, or walk without fear, you're not just physically stronger. You're mentally more confident. That confidence comes partly from knowing your body has the structural support it needs. Magnesium protects that confidence. It keeps the building blocks of your body stable, so you can keep behaving on your terms. Too many people start thinking about magnesium only after they've experienced a break. By then, you're already on the back foot. Prevention is always less painful, less expensive, and more empowering than recovery. Here's what I want you to do today. Assess your risk. Think about your age, medications, digestion changes, and any early symptoms we discussed: cramps, fatigue, poor sleep, heart flutters. Get curious, not complacent. Ask your healthcare provider about magnesium testing. But remember, symptoms and diet matter even if blood tests look normal. Start tracking. Keep a simple journal for the next 2 weeks. Record any signs like muscle twitches, restlessness, or unusual tiredness. Small changes can reveal big patterns. Do this before the crack, because once your bones speak loudly, they don't whisper again. Protect them now, and they'll protect you for years to come.